Lesson 7.2 Video 2. Now here we're going to factor out the greatest common factor. So we now not only need to find what the greatest common factor is, but we're going to use it. So in this case, the greatest common factor would be, if I look at the first term, now notice that this is a binomial. So before we had two terms and we found the greatest common factor. Now we have two terms, but they are joined by an addition problem, which makes it a binomial. So we're going to do something a little bit more. So 36 I know is 1 and 36. I know 2 and 18. 3 and 12. 4 and 9. Alright, and then I have 27, which is 1 and 27, and 3 and 9. Now the largest number that goes into both, or the greatest common factor, is 9. So in this case our greatest common factor is 9. They both have at least one y. So now how can I use that? Well, now we would say I'm going to factor out that greatest common factor. When I do that, I am going to divide both of them by that greatest common factor. What we're left with is 9y, and this is written out in front of the parentheses telling us that we divided both by 9y, we factored it out, and it goes on the outside as a product of its factors. So on the inside I have 36 divided by 9 is 4, y squared divided by y is y, 27 divided by 9 is 3, y divided by y is gone. And this is considered factored. So I took out the greatest common factor, and it is written as a product of what the greatest common factor is and what is left. Next one, we have three different terms. So if we look at the first one, we have 1 and 8. 2 and 4 are the factors of 8. If we look at 16, we have 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 times 4, which I'll just write once. Then we have 2, and that's just 1 and 2. What is the greatest common factor of all three of those? 2. So our greatest common factor is 2. They both have, or all three of them have at least one A, no more than that though, and they all have at least one B. So that's the greatest common factor. So we would write, so we're going to divide all of them by 2AB. When you do that, you can write 2AB out in front of the parentheses, showing that you factored it out. And what that gives you inside the parentheses then is negative 8 divided by 2 is a negative 4. A squared divided by A is A. B divided by B is gone. Negative 16 divided by 2 is a negative 8. A divided by A is gone. B squared divided by B is B. You're taking one away. And then the last one we have 2AB divided by 2AB. Now we have to be very careful at this point and explain that when you divide something by itself, you get 1. It just doesn't disappear. And then this is your factored form. I'm going to do the next two a lot quicker because I want you to try them, so I'm just going to basically give you the answers, but I'm going to be very quick about it. This one, I have 15 and 3. The largest number that goes into both is 3. If I divide both of them by 3, in the parentheses I have 5w minus x. And this is factored. Our last one, 7, 21, and this is a 1 right there. No numbers, 1 is your greatest common factor, but I do notice that they all have at least an x, and they all have at least a y. So if I divide each one by xy, the 7 remains, my x squared becomes an x, and my y squared becomes a y. My 21 is still there, my negative 21 is still there, my x's cancel out, and I have a y still. And again, my xy cancels out my xy, and I have a 1. And this ends Lesson 7.2, Video 2.